Ben, I've always been fascinated at the early jobs that actors have before they're actors. Now, I know you worked
They haven't told you, have they? They've told you, haven't they?
Well, didn't you work in a laboratory?
Oh, in a laboratory. Oh, I thought they told you about the other place. Yes, yes.
Well, testing penicillin,
Yeah.
how did that come about?
I made the other laboratory assistants laugh so much performing as a zany scientist. And it was a real laboratory. I could have got in serious trouble. And the head of department took me aside and said, would I please confine my histrionics to the stage, because I was interfering with the workforce and the running of the laboratory. I had such a ball.
You've shot movies all over the world, and I've always been curious at the spectators that film locations attract. When you're shooting in Los Angeles, in some of the more colorful neighborhoods or unusual neighborhoods, what kind of interesting spectators do you see gathering around the location when you're shooting?
Well, I can't tell the difference between a Los Angeles spectator and one of our extras. We were filming a lot in wonderful clubs, discos and clubs here in LA. Wonderful scenes, very funny, very up, very pulsing. And when I was filming those scenes, I just talked most of the time to the people who were there, and I didn't know whether they were spectators or whether they were extras or who they were. What was important to me was that they wanted to talk to me, they wanted to introduce themselves to me, and we had a nice time. We had a nice talk. You know, we had a couple of beers together. At the risk of sounding completely cynical and pretentious, I really like people. Doesn't that sound awful? But I do. I mean, it's such an obvious thing to say, but people would squirm in their seats thinking, what a pretentious creep. I love people.
Well, we spoke about that on Schindler's List. You said a lot of people would come up to you wanting to talk about your acting career. Do you find that some spectators and some crew members and actors, are they at first a little in awe of you, the fact that you have such a...
Lord Kingsley, I call myself. Doesn't last long, I tell you. They soon twig.
Yeah. Well, what kind of steps
Especially when with Alfred Molyneux around, he doesn't let me get away with anything.
well, what kind of steps do you take to set people at ease?
I listen to them. I listen to them. I listen to them and I take them seriously. And that goes a long way. I'm playing a man who enjoys power. I'm playing a man who is addicted to power, as some people are addicted to dangerous drugs. And part of that man's process is to issue orders, to carry a flamethrower, to love the chase and hate the chase at the same time. And all these aspects of my character, I thoroughly enjoy sketching in, you know. That Fitch also has huge delusions of grandeur, and were Fitch not a scientist today, he would be a brigadier general, possibly of the tank corps, yesterday. Whose side he was on, I dread to think.
In one final question about the Oscars, we're doing a humorous piece on the Oscars for next year.
Humorous? Oh dear, you've hit the wrong one here.
I'm just wondering.
Good luck, mate.
Well, transporting the Oscar from the ceremonies back home.
They told you, didn't they?
Well, I'm going to venture a guess. What kind of, how did you transport yours back?
I didn't. I left it there to be engraved. Lord Kingsley. And then I got back to my village, my beautiful English countryside village, my country retreat. And the doorbell rang, and my post lady, Elspeth, Edith, I can't remember now, arrived on her bicycle and rang the doorbell, and she said, "Would you sign for this, please?" And it was a box containing my Oscar. She didn't know. I think she thought it was a box of chocolates or something.